Thanks for watching Endgame Economics. If you enjoyed this video, hit subscribe. It's completely free for you, and it helps us continue making more videos like this.
Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving into a seriously captivating paradox. I mean, let's be real. We live in a world where wealth is just constantly on display, right? It's shouted from the rooftops on social media, it's driven down the street in ridiculously loud supercars, and it's built into these sprawling mega mansions. But today, we're going to look at a guy who completely ignores the modern rules of looking rich. We're exploring the wealth of stillness and Warren Buffett's quiet empire. Here is a man worth well over $100 billion who has seemingly just refused to change. There's no giant palace, no private island empire, literally no obsession with luxury at all. And this brilliantly illustrates exactly what makes him so fascinating. On one side of the equation, you have the modern financial world. We're talking trillions of dollars moving in milliseconds on glowing screens. Just this high-stress, hyper-fast, globally connected machine. And on the other side, a quiet, modest suburban house in Omaha, Nebraska. No massive security gates, no fleet of luxury vehicles sitting in the driveway. Just Warren Buffett eating a simple breakfast at his kitchen table while the global markets churn around him. He exists at the absolute dead center of global wealth, yet his daily environment looks like it hasn't changed a bit since the mid-20th century.
The deeper you study his life and the choices he's made, the more you can have to pause and ask yourself this rather unsettling question. Take a second to really think about it. What if the richest man in the room stopped caring about looking rich a very long time ago? We spend so much time and energy trying to signal our success to everyone else. But what if the ultimate flex, the truest sign of actually won the game, is just stepping completely off the scoreboard of public opinion? Well, to figure out how he got to this point, we have to go back to the beginning.
Okay, let's dive into this. Section 1. Fascinated by numbers. A boy's obsession.
See, Warren Buffett didn't fall in love with luxury as a young kid. He fell in love with numbers. He was fundamentally captivated by how money worked mechanically, and it was all driven by three incredibly powerful, yet surprisingly boring concepts: profit, compounding, patience. As a child, he was out there before sunrise delivering newspapers. He sold chewing gum. He sold Coca-Cola. And he wasn't doing this because he desperately needed the cash. He did it because he was fascinated. He was obsessed with consistency. He realized early on that small amounts of money could grow quietly into something enormous if you just got out of the way and let the math do the work. While other kids, and let's face it, eventually other adults, chase the thrill of immediate excitement, Buffett chose the quiet discipline of the long game.
Tracing his life from childhood, we can see exactly how this powerful idea of small money growing quietly built his incredible wealth, all without ever altering his lifestyle. In his childhood, he's meticulously counting coins from selling gum and newspapers. Then we hit 1958 and he buys that modest house in Omaha. Fast forward to today, and he is worth well over $100 billion. And where does he live? Still in the exact same house. He built this massive empire by rolling a tiny snowball down a very long hill. And unlike almost everyone else who gains extreme wealth, he never let the size of the snowball dictate the size of his ego.
Section 2. The psychology of enough and rejecting the norm. Which brings us to a concept that completely breaks all the modern rules: the psychology of enough. We've been taught to expect that more wealth automatically equals a completely new identity and a much bigger lifestyle. But Buffett understands something our culture rarely ever teaches us, and that's the diminishing emotional returns of luxury. Step 1. The first upgrade feels incredibly exciting. You get a nicer car and wow, it's thrilling. But step 2. By the time you hit your 10th upgrade, it just becomes background noise. Human beings, we adapt to luxury incredibly fast. And then step 3 hits, you realize that endless consumption is simply a game without a finish line. You can literally never buy enough to satisfy the desire for more if the desire itself is endless.
So instead of spending his life on that endless treadmill of signaling his wealth to others, he prioritized something completely different. He optimized for freedom. The freedom to think clearly without constant distraction. The freedom to choose exactly how he spends his day. And perhaps most importantly, freedom from needing to impress total strangers. Honestly, this is the secret to why he so often appears remarkably calmer than so many of the younger, highly stressed billionaires we see all over the news today. He just isn't carrying the heavy mental weight of maintaining an image.
Section 3. Avoiding lifestyle inflation and lifestyle choices.
So, the crucial point is, to a lot of people, the fact that he stayed in a house he bought back in 1958 seems totally irrational. People constantly ask, if you have the money, why wouldn't you upgrade everything? But he was deliberately avoiding a specific, dangerous trap: lifestyle inflation. It's the trap where the more people upgrade their lives, the more expensive their baseline for happiness actually becomes. Think of it as an invisible tax on your joy. Once you get used to flying first class, suddenly flying coach feels like a punishment. Your baseline happiness hasn't increased at all. It has just become significantly more expensive to maintain.
And it is a vicious, constantly escalating cycle. Step 1, you buy the bigger house. Step 2, that bigger house instantly creates bigger expectations. Step 3, those expectations create bigger pressure to maintain a massive income. And ultimately, step 4, it all just leads to a bigger emptiness. You end up running twice as fast just to stay in the exact same place.
Buffett looked right at that trap and actively chose stability instead. He anchored himself with familiar routines, a highly predictable life, and very quiet habits. And over the decades, while other financial titans were completely burning out or constantly stressing over their public status, this simplicity became Buffett's psychological armor. By keeping his life simple, he kept his mind clear. It turns out, not worrying about the insane maintenance costs of a mega yacht frees up a whole lot of brain space.
Section 4. The Power of Stillness and Mastering the Mind.
When you really peel back the layers of Warren Buffett's success, you start to realize his greatest advantage was never just raw intelligence. Wall Street is literally full of absolute geniuses who fail completely. No, his true superpower is this: emotional control. I know, it sounds almost too simple, but it is incredibly rare. When global markets panic and crash, when other investors become wildly greedy, when the crowds are all blindly chasing the exact same shiny new excitement, Buffett stays entirely patient. He just waits.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the stark contrast. Our modern culture overwhelmingly rewards speed and the constant, non-stop performance of success. We want to look like we are winning right now. But notice the complete opposite approach here. Buffett appears completely disinterested in performing success. Instead, he is entirely focused on understanding the actual intrinsic value of things. And those are two completely different games. True wealth is so often built quietly in the background, while the rest of the world's attention is focused on loud, flashy distractions. He behaves a lot less like a modern billionaire and more like a man who's successfully escaped the psychological traps of wealth itself.
Section 5. The Ultimate Realization and Finding Inner Peace.
As we trace the life of a man who built an absolute empire, we uncover a truth most people learn way too late. Money is a highly specific tool. It solves financial problems, sure, but it does absolutely nothing to solve inner problems. True, lasting peace comes from entirely different sources. It comes from having a solid routine, a deep sense of purpose, real simplicity in your daily life, meaningful relationships, and unwavering inner stability. Just think about our world today. It just keeps getting louder, doesn't it? Faster, more performative. Everyone is a brand, and everyone is constantly on stage. Yet, the man who arguably won capitalism's biggest game, he still lives like it's 1960.
And that is absolutely not an accident. It's a deliberate, highly calculated choice based on this really profound realization. Listen closely to this idea. If you constantly upgrade your lifestyle, but never upgrade your peace of mind, you remain poor in the one place that matters most. That right there is the quiet empire he built. An empire of the mind, completely insulated from the noise of the crowd.
As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with this lingering thought to take into your own day. Take a hard look at your own habits, your own spending, and your own goals. What would your life look like right now if you completely stopped trying to impress other people? If you took all that energy, all that money, and all that time, and just focused quietly on what actually brings you value? That's a pretty powerful question, and finding your answer just might change everything.